Um,
Oh, I just clicked it myself.
all right, great.
Haha.
Haha.
There you
So
go.
Ryan, there's some great questions already in the chat.
Yeah, I saw that. We're
Yeah.
gonna really
Let's do it.
cover all of this stuff. So, all right. So let's start with what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover four things. Four things. I did go to school. It's four, not five. The first thing we're going to talk about for a few minutes is why you should be on LinkedIn. I think this is really important because you all are busy. You have a lot on your plate. And I work for LinkedIn, so I'm super biased. So I'm going to provide you all with data, like unbiased data, so you can make the best decision for you. Full disclosure, I have a daughter who is a junior in college. And so I know firsthand how busy you are. But there are a lot of really important things that you need to know to make the best decision for yourself. So we're going to talk about why. Then we're going to jump into your actual LinkedIn profile. We're going to talk about what the LinkedIn profile is today and what it is not. And I think this is really imperative because you're probably thinking of the LinkedIn profile the wrong way. Don't worry. Most people think about it the wrong way. So you're not alone, but we're going to talk about what your profile is and what it should be. Third thing we're going to talk about is growing your network. Networking is super, super important. It's never been more important than it is today. And so how you can do that on LinkedIn. And the fourth thing we're going to talk about, final thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about posting content on LinkedIn, sharing your thought leadership on LinkedIn. When you leave here today, I hope you take away a couple of big things. Number one, LinkedIn is social media, not a resume repository. It's not a job board. You can upload your resume, but you got to do more than that to differentiate yourself. You can use the job platform, but you got to do more than that to really give yourself a chance. So it is social media. It's social media designed with one thing in mind, and that is to try to help you get where you want to go in your career. Now, if you are like me and you're on other social media platforms like TikTok or IG, I don't judge you because I'm on those way too often. Show of hands, how many people are on other social media platforms at least once a day? Yes, one person, Liana, Sarah, there we go. We got more honest people. Yay, a lot of honest people, right? Those social media platforms are not designed to help you make any money, right? They're not designed to help you get where you want to go in your career. They're designed to actually just entertain you. So what I want you to think of when you're thinking of LinkedIn, if you start thinking of LinkedIn as social media, it's going to really reframe and reshape how you think about it and how you use it so that you get the most out of it. Now, why should you be on LinkedIn? LinkedIn is the best place for you to go in 2022 to get where you want to go in your career, not just today, for the rest of your life. This is important. If you're a freshman, you're 18 years old, you're like, I'm not going to have a job for another 2 years, or my goal is to go to SMC and then maybe move on to UCLA. So I don't need a LinkedIn profile. You need a LinkedIn profile. The earlier, the better. And I'll tell you why, right? It is a long-term thing, right? Becoming an influencer and having a social media platform work for you takes time. It's like planting seeds. Those planting seeds, the more you plant those seeds, the more you're going to grow, the more you're going to reap over time. And the longer you wait to do that, the longer it's going to take for you to work for yourself. The other thing is that people don't realize you can get internships on LinkedIn. And there are tons of internships on LinkedIn. You can get those. The other thing to keep in mind is that your network is super, super important. So the earlier you start growing your network, the larger your network will be and the more likely your network is going to help you get a job. Most people I know, almost everybody I know has had a job, most of their jobs through somebody that they know, right? And this allows you to actually basically know more people, okay? Now, I'm going to start asking you some questions. So I'd love you just to answer here real quickly. But how do you think LinkedIn earns their revenue? Like, how do you think we make our money? Anybody?
So you guys put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat or shout it out.
Put it in the chat or shout it out. So
ad revenue, that's a good one, Nadeem. It's getting up there. Ads are pretty we're getting that revenue source is pretty high. Denise, you said employers. Yes, but there's a certain way with employers. Daniela, most people think premium memberships. That's a good guess. Premium memberships is our smallest line of business. Only 3% of our 800 million members pay for premium.
Wow.
Yeah, only 3%. Premium is not designed for people with 5 years or less of work experience. So You do not need to pay for premium. It's super expensive. Jay, fees like premium, that's our smallest line of business. Daniela, recruiters is the right answer. Ding, 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 ding. You got it, right? Now, think about this business model. LinkedIn charges corporate America, charges anybody, charges them to find talent on LinkedIn. You cannot just go onto LinkedIn and do these advanced searches and search and reach out to people. We actually pay for that access to you. So that's our business model. We charge recruiters to use LinkedIn to find you. We charge talent hiring managers to find you. So what do you think our market share is of Fortune 500 companies? What percentage of Fortune 500 companies do you think pay LinkedIn to find you? What do you think?
Can I play?
Yeah, you can play.
All right.
Nadeem going high with 100%. Denise 90, there we go. Warner 95. Man, you all are very good guesses. Nadeem, you were, well, actually, technically Warner, I think is closer. It's technically 97% right now.
Oh,
it was 100%. It was 100% pre-COVID. And we're going to get back to 100%, I guarantee you. I want you to, let's just let that set in for a second. 97% of Fortune 500 companies pay LinkedIn to find you. If you are not on LinkedIn, you wait to get on LinkedIn. What are you doing? You're pushing away economic opportunity. You're pushing away the opportunity to get to understand the platform. LinkedIn is not like TikTok or IG where you can just get on the platform and kind of figure it out. It takes a little bit of time to get to know the platform and to understand it and to use it wisely. But when I tell you that 97% of Fortune 500 companies are using LinkedIn, that's a pretty powerful number. In California, what percentage of working Californians have a LinkedIn profile? What do you think? What percentage of working Californians have a LinkedIn profile? You can chat. Anybody want to drop in the chat? 60%, 50%. Okay. 80%, closer. 33, Jenna, no. The answer is 93%. 93% of working Californians, Felicity, you're very close, have a LinkedIn profile. 97% of Fortune 500 companies use LinkedIn to find talent. 90% of corporate recruiters use LinkedIn to find talent. Christopher, I thought 20. So what does that tell you? What it tells me with facts, right? Factually, is that LinkedIn is ubiquitous, especially in California. If you are going to apply to a job that is in an office, what is the possibility? What is the chance that they're going to look at your LinkedIn profile before they ever interview you? The number is basically 100%. Everybody is using LinkedIn to figure out who they are going to interview. Even now, we're getting used more for jobs if you're welding or HVAC or automotive. It doesn't matter. Librarian. People are using LinkedIn. The reason why is because employers are looking for more than just, does Daniela have the right skill set? It's, does Daniela have the right attitude? Will she make a good fit for my company? Back in the day when I was your age, I hate saying that, man, it makes me feel really old, but back before social media, right? What did we have to do in order to get a job? You'd have to look through a want ad, literally in a paper, a newspaper, right? And you'd have to print out your resume 100 different times. And if you were like me and you're a terrible speller, you inevitably had a stupid spelling error on it. Put those in an envelope, send them out, put a stamp on it, and hope that somebody would return your mail. That's way back in the day. Today in 2022, you have power, and it comes with this stupid device. You have the ability in your palm of your hand to connect with 800 million members, to look at 15 million jobs, to follow influencers, to comment on their posts, to reach out to alumni of SMC and be like, hey, you're working for this great company. How'd you get that job? Do you mind giving me some advice? And you could do that as many times as you want. When you think about economic opportunity comes when you have opportunity to reach out and connect to other people. That's where opportunity comes. And it's the beauty of LinkedIn is everything I'm going to show you today is free. It costs you nothing but a little bit of time and effort. It is a game changer. Let me ask you a question. I work with USC, Stanford, UCs. What percentage of Stanford and USC students do you think have LinkedIn profiles as freshmen? It certainly isn't zero, right? They all have LinkedIn profiles. Why? Because Stanford and USC, when you go to those schools, they let you know right away. You need to be on this platform. You need to use our network. You need to connect to people. You don't have to go to Stanford or USC in order to use LinkedIn. That's what I love about this platform. I love about working for this company because it levels the playing field. It creates economic opportunity for everybody because there's no barrier, right? There is no barrier for you to join. You can do whatever, as long as you're 16, you can join LinkedIn. So these are reasons why you should be on LinkedIn, because it is the best place for you to get where you want to go in your career. And it's not just me saying it, it's the fact that virtually everybody is using it. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into two, which is your profile. Let's talk about your profile. And let's talk about how you can make your profile yours. Because what I see is that most people think LinkedIn is a resume. It is not. It is not a resume. It's a place for you to share your story. Trust me when I tell you the difference between you and the next person is you personally. Like that's the difference, right? What sets me apart is my work ethic, my attitude, right? My resiliency, all of these things. And you can't talk about that on a resume, can you? You can't say I'm a first-gen student working my way through college. You can't say I've overcome this adversity. You can't say I'm going back to school because of XYZ, or I've had this break in my unemployment because of XYZ on your resume. Resumes literally put you in an 8.5 by 11-inch rectangle. I want you to throw that, push that aside. That is not how LinkedIn works. LinkedIn allows you to share your voice, your story, and be completely authentic. I want you to flip this on its head, where on a resume, you're like, what can I put on here so that I will get noticed and people will actually, reach out to me? On your LinkedIn profile, I want you to put your story, and I want you to put your words, your authentic story, because the more that you're authentic, the more that people will reach out to you. You don't have to worry about pleasing everybody, because I got news for you. You ain't going to please everybody. You're not, right? So the more that you're true to yourself, the more that I think you're free to be your authentic self, the more that you will use LinkedIn, because you're not trying to be something you're not. And that's super important to me. So let's go ahead and jump into LinkedIn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you other profiles of students that have used LinkedIn. All of these students have given me permission to share their profile and to have them recorded. So we're all good to go. Everybody I'm going to show you is authorized me to share their profile. So I'm going to start with Bridget. So Bridget, I met Bridget when she was a junior at Cal State Long Beach. And so a couple of things here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this so you can see her profile. Quick question for you. How much time do you think you have to make a first impression? What do you think? What do you think is the going sentiment on the time you have to make a first impression?
Seconds.
Seconds is right. It's not 1 second, but it's about 20 seconds. It's about 20 seconds. And I want you to think of that same thing when you're thinking about LinkedIn, right? What is the first thing people are going to see when they jump onto LinkedIn? They're going to see your profile picture. They're going to see your background photo, and they're going to see your headline. Sorry, did you want to add anything? Okay. So they're going to see your profile picture, your background photo, and your headline. If you don't have a profile picture, people are like, it's 2022. People want to know what you look like. If you don't have a profile picture, it sends a bad message. So you got to let people know what you look like. And the beauty of this is it doesn't have to be a professional photo. It can just be on your phone. You crop out your head. It should just be a headshot.
Hey, Brian, I'm gonna jump in there though.
Sure.
Working with students, sometimes I have had students that are, so you're talking about a professional picture. So I have had students that are at parties, they're drinking, which is fine. I mean, I'm totally cool with that. But as far as LinkedIn, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I hear where you're coming
they're
from.
at a bar,
I have never seen anybody put one of those pictures on LinkedIn, and I'm connected with a lot of students. And I think, common sense dictates that it needs to be just you and smiling. So
Right.
today, with the new phones, you literally could take a selfie. You could take a portrait mode selfie,
Yep.
and you're good to go. And so that's what I'm trying to say is it doesn't necessarily need to be a professional photo. It can be a selfie in front of a nice wall. Look, I'll show you. I'll show you
Okay.
one right here. So let me show you
All right.
Tammy. This is Tammy Tran, right? Look at her picture. I mean, that's all she did was just take a selfie, right? And she's in a blazer. You don't even need to be in a blazer or blouse, but my point is that it's a white background. So it's super, super easy to take a picture. I want to reduce the barrier to get into LinkedIn with a profile picture. But you're right. It needs to be, you don't want to have it partying. But just be told, I've really never seen that, because, LinkedIn is more of your professional side. You can do whatever you want on IG and TikTok, but LinkedIn, you want it to be more of here's who I am professionally. Here's who I am as a student. Now, the background photo, super important as well. When you're looking at your profile, taking a little bit of time to work on your profile makes a huge difference. Let's think about this, right? If you just upload your resume, you have no background photo, you just take a regular picture of yourself and you don't invest any time and effort to change your profile, what does that automatically tell the recruiter? Well, it tells them you didn't spend any time. It tells them you just uploaded your resume and you're good to go. Anybody can say words, I'm a hard worker. Anybody can say that, right? But if you show you're a hard worker by showing that you invested time and effort into creating a story, telling your story, thinking about what do I want people to know about me? Your about section is about you. What's the first question you get asked in an interview? It isn't, can you do the job? The first question you get asked in an interview is like, tell me about yourself. That's what you get asked. People want to know that the two things that people are looking for are attitude and aptitude. Monique, you were wondering if anybody can help you with your story and your bio. I think this is where the career services folks can really help you with that. But I also I'm going to show you I'm going to show you some profiles right now, and you can kind of get your mind going with what you're going to talk about your about section. But I really want to focus on this background photo real quickly. You'll notice here, she has this iPad. It says it's time to look inward and start asking yourself the big question, who are you and what do you want? I love this because it's kind of got, it's underlying. Does anybody know what this is from? Anybody? Without reading the fine print? It's actually
Avatar, The Last Airbender.
There you go. Yeah. Did you read that, Denise, or did you know that off the top of your head?
No, I'm a fan.
There you go. See, I love it, Denise. Like I've been showing this profile for a couple of years and my daughter started cracking up. She's like, oh my God, that's from Avatar. I didn't even realize it because I don't read the fine print. But do you see what I'm saying here with Bridget, how she's kind of subtly showcasing her personality? Super important. By the way, you can go into your profile section. I'm going to show you. Click on me, go into view profile, click on this pencil, and you can see this background photo I have here. You can click on change photo, and you can download all these background photos. There's no reason not to have a background photo. We have this new feature, which I recommend all of you do. Go into the back end and you can identify your ethnicity and your gender. There are so many places that are looking for underrepresented folks. This helps, all right? And we want more people to do it. You can show you're an ally to the disabled community, Latino community, Black Lives Matter, Asian community, I think I did that already, LGBTQ. So you can showcase your personality on LinkedIn, right? This is just a great way to start. Now, right here, the headline, this should be more aspirational, right? Guiding people to the next step of their careers, looking to make an impact in XYZ, right? Or, think about a conversational approach to this. Most people are really just putting what their current internship is and where they're currently going to school. I want you to think of LinkedIn as a place for you to write a story, write full sentences. People read full sentences, especially if they're compelling. They don't read resumes. Resumes are not compelling. Nobody reads a resume. They just look for a certain thing and they're like, if it's here, great. If it's not, gone. That's not how it is on LinkedIn. Unless, of course, you just upload your resume and you're done with it. Then people don't read it. But if you make it compelling, people will read it. Let's take a look at Bridget here. She starts with this line, complacency is a continuous struggle we all have to fight. A line by Jack Nicklaus. I love this because it brings the reader in. She talks about personally, I know what it feels like to feel complacent and lost in my career. And then she talks about overcoming that complacency through her work ethic and her dedication. This is what I'm talking about when you're looking at LinkedIn and how you can tell your story. So Monique, to your point, your story is unique, right? Are you working your way through college? Are you a first gen student, right? What is your story and what do you want to share with people? Let me show you some others so you can kind of get your brain, moving, right? Get the wheels turning. This is Sarah. I met Sarah a while ago. She tells more of a story. She says, around my neck on a thin red cord, a tiny jade lock and key was placed by my biological parents in the busy streets of Anhui, China. She talks about what the necklace symbolizes for her and what she wants to do. But here's the sentence that really just, I love. She says, my positive and upbeat attitude derives from the gift I was given when I was adopted at the age of 2.5 years old. Now, how many of you before today would think about putting on LinkedIn that you were adopted or that you were complacent and you had to overcome complacency? Denise, great question. You can use this. If it is compelling, people will read it. If it's compelling, if it's boring, people won't, right? And so my point is, like, you can make it 3 or 4 or 5 paragraphs. It's okay. Let me ask you a question, Denise. If you have a recruiter that lands on your page and they see that you've taken time to write 4 paragraphs and your story, is that going to hurt you? Or is that going to help you? Nobody's going to go like, why did Denise write all this information about herself? Nobody cares. Nobody's going to do that. It's immediately going to tell the hiring manager and the recruiter, Denise spent time to think about what she wants to say and what story she wants to tell us. It's immediately going to give them a more positive look at who you are as a person. So there is no best practice. It should be no shorter than 40 words, but to tell your story should be more than 40 words. Let me show you another one here. I'm going to show you a couple of others here. I'll go back to Tammy. Let's go back to Tammy. I love Tammy's because she starts here. She's like, when I was 7, Harry Potter taught me English when I first immigrated to the Bay Area. As a passionate learner, I jumped straight into teaching myself English and became obsessed with the way stories are told, right? She's like, I want to connect individuals to something bigger than themselves, the way Harry Potter colored my world with magic and taught me the basis I need to achieve the American dream. Like, tell me that's not cool. Tell me that's not more compelling than what most people do on their about section, which is like resume-y or cover letter-y, right? It's like my cover letter. This is not what LinkedIn is. And so the most important part of this whole workshop is for you to rethink what you think LinkedIn is. It is your opportunity to tell people, here is who I am, both personally and professionally. But more important, if you're a young person on this call, right? If you're 18 or 19 or 20, you're not expected to have a ton of work experience, but you have a ton of life experience. What if you were a competitive athlete? What did that teach you? What if you played a musical instrument and performed? What did that teach you, right? If you are mid-career, what have you been doing during that time, right? Like, you have an opportunity to get in front of this. So for example, if let's say you were a stay-at-home mom for 10 or 15 years, what is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You could actually start with being a stay-at-home mom for this much time has taught me this, right? Today in 2022, people respect and value that. That is not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to pivot in your career either. It's not a bad thing to pivot in your career either, right? So what I want you to understand with this conversation today is that LinkedIn affords you the opportunity to really think about where you are in your stage in your career. Where do you want to go? What do you want people to think about you as a person, both personally and professionally? And you have a ton of opportunity to put that information on LinkedIn. That's the big thing. Because if you are transitioning in your career, if you are a little bit older, those questions are going to come up in your interview anyway. You need to be able to answer that question. Number one. Number two, I don't think it's a negative to go through those sorts of things. Who has a one career path and stays on that same career path their whole entire life? That just doesn't happen very often anymore. So my thing is like, hey, let's take time to really think about where I've gone in my life and where I want to go in my life. What do you like to do outside of work? You know, my wife put on her profile, and she's my age, obviously. She put on her profile that she doesn't like to act her age. Who likes to act their age anyway? She's like, I'm a Disney fan, a Marvel fan, a Star Wars fan. I love interior design and decorating because it makes me feel this way. Literally a week later, she had a recruiter reach out to her going, you know what? I love your about section. We'd love to interview you. That's the deal, right? That's what I want you to take back control of this process by being yourself. That's what I love so much about LinkedIn and doing these workshops, because the resume takes away that power. The resume says, well, these are your grades, and these are the skills you have, and these are the jobs you have, and that's it. That's not what life is about, and that's not what opportunity is about. There are often times when I have been the less qualified person interviewing with a company, but I got the job because they saw more potential in me. And that's what I want you to understand here, right? So all of this stuff is more about who you are as a person, where you want to go. It's just, again, use the words, your story. It's super, super important. And the more that you tell your story, the more that you articulate your story, the more I think that you're going to have people resonate and come back to you. Let me show you one more profile here. This is Chelsea. And I want to show you like some of the things that she did with her experience section, where, you can actually talk about, the experience in the form of a story. So what I mean by that is, like, if you're a first-gen student and you are not from privilege and you have to work your way through college, and you're working your way through college as, let's say, a server, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to put that on LinkedIn. I'm going to push back on that. And I'm going to tell you, you learn a lot as a server, number one. Number two, it's really important for people to know why you're doing what you're doing. So I had one student go, as a first-gen student working my way through college, it taught me this, blah, 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 right? Working as a server has been an amazing experience, right? Or if you work, your internship, this is what this company does. Or if you volunteer on campus at an organization, here's what, this Women in Business volunteer group does. And here's my role in this group. Telling it in the form of a story. It doesn't need to be bullet pointed out. It doesn't need to, because this is not a resume. If you want to add bullet points, go for it. But the bottom line is that this is not a resume. And the more that you articulate your story, the more likely opportunity is going to come to you. Do you all have any questions about what I chatted about, or, SMC team, do you want to add any of your thoughts?
Thinking, so what I've gotten from this whole workshop is that LinkedIn is not really a place where you just tell your work. It's about describing who you are as a person. At least is that what I've gotten of it. Because as I'm looking through this presentation, I'm starting to think about how I could tell myself about my story, which
100%.
Absolutely, which I'm actually thinking about right now. So I'm trying to brainstorm how I'm gonna describe myself.
100%. That is exactly right. And it takes a little bit of time. It's Liana. Did I pronounce your name right?
It's Leona.
Leona.
Everyone pronounces my name differently.
Leona. I appreciate totally agree with you. That is exactly right. Right. Mm-hmm. Ramona asked if I can go over the headline again, and I'll go over the headline again, and I'll show you a couple of others, like Tammy's right here. Right. It's going to take a little bit of time and effort to really think about how you want to craft your story. It takes a little bit of time. So the deal is, Brenda, it looks like you have your hand up. I'm going to get to you in just 1 second. But the good news is this: if you commit to a little bit of time, maybe 3-4 hours over a couple of weeks, to really think about, how do I want my headline to see, right? What kind of profile picture do I want? What are my background photo? What do I want my about section to say? You're done. All of these profiles I've shown you, they've been the same for years. They've been the same for years. And by the way, everybody that I'm showing you has got really, really good jobs, right? Because you're competing against a lot of people, and a lot of people doing the same thing over and over again. But if you are a little bit different by showcasing who you are, That's really, really powerful. So what I think with the headline that you can do is you think of it in two ways. One is aspirationally, like new grad aiming to tell stories through technology is a really creative way of saying, I want to be in marketing. I want to be in marketing or social media, digital advertising, right? Aspiring digital advertiser, right? Aspiring graphic designer. That could be your headline. Or it could be maybe picking 3 or 4 words that are powerful words to use to describe you. It's super creative. I just want you to kind of let loose with your creative juices and go from there. Brenda, go ahead.
Yes, I was actually curious how it balances out. So I understand the whole, trying to tell our story through our about section and our headline, but how do you balance that with as I understand, LinkedIn uses an algorithm, and
Yes.
that's often what recruiters will use as well. So how do you balance trying to tell your story with also putting in keywords that will get you seen as well?
Excellent. So what recruiters are seeing now are people that try to do overuse of keywords. Overuse of keywords is not a good thing. And so my thing is, remember that LinkedIn is a fully searchable database. So the more words, the more content you put in LinkedIn, the more likely you're going to get caught. Now, the most important thing as far as keywords to do is down here in the skills section. You should have at least 5 skills, a minimum of 5 skills. You really should have, like you can see here, Tammy has 25. You should have a ton of skills, but I wouldn't worry about the algorithm. The more content you put on LinkedIn, literally, the more engaged you are with LinkedIn, the more often you're going to be found on LinkedIn. So the algorithm really places a value on people that are engaged with LinkedIn. Now,
That makes a lot of sense.
Really quickly, I'm going to show you our recruiter tool right here, because I sell this product to college universities to do hiring. These are the filters. This is how many things that they can look for on LinkedIn. This is why we charge so much money for recruiters to find this. You notice there's just one that's keyword. Everything else is over here. People are not looking just for keywords anymore. And so the beauty of this is that just be yourself. Don't worry about trying to write the right words. Trust me, the more that you engage with LinkedIn, the more that you're authentic, you will be surprised how quickly opportunity will come your way, because we're going to talk about the next 2 things that you can do, and they all circle back to your profile. So the beginning of this is you being true to yourself, being authentic. I'm a current student. I'm young, right? This is new to me. You can talk authentically. The problem is people think talking authentically means not professional. That is not true. Am I less professional because I'm in a hoodie and a baseball cap? No. I'm just more comfortable is what it is. So I want you to be yourself. You got to start embracing LinkedIn as a social media platform. I'm not saying, to Jenna's point, that you're like, I had 5 beers last night and I went partying. No, that's what you do on TikTok. But you could say, I learned this in class the other day, or I read this great article in class the other day. Or you could be on LinkedIn following an influencer and she makes a great post and you comment on that post. So you share that post and you take 5 minutes to think about how you want to contribute to the network. That's what LinkedIn does. And that's how you get a job. I think Jody had her hand up first. I can't remember. Jody, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for this. Same thing somebody mentioned, like my takeaway of LinkedIn was very different.
Right.
But I have a question going back up to like that headline section area.
Yeah.
Years ago when I created my LinkedIn, there used to be this section where it's like you had to pick a category of, I guess, like maybe what professional section you wanted to go
Right.
into.
What
And
industry
that,
you're in? Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that part always I struggled with, because if I wanted to branch out into something different, then I just wasn't really sure how to navigate that part. I can't remember what it was. It used to add it to my headline or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah. So we want the industry you're in. I think you can actually put multiple industries if you'd like, but we use this more for data and insights. This software,
Okay.
recruiters don't use this. Recruiters don't use this at all. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. That's a really, really great call out. Wouldn't worry about the industry. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Kamiko.
So one of the things you mentioned was about engaging with LinkedIn. How often should people be posting content?
Yeah.
And that's
Okay. We are going to go into that that's going to be the fourth thing we talk about. So you're a little bit ahead, but really the high level answer to that question is if you post once a week, you're doing more than 99.5% of people once a week. And I'm talking about sharing other people's content or posting your own content. So it's a very low bar. Once a day is the max that you need to post, once a day. But if you comment on posts, you're doing more than most people. So I'm not here to tell you need to be an influencer unless you want to be. I'm here to tell you you can use LinkedIn and being on LinkedIn and engaging in the feed, posting content once a week, you're doing a lot. But you should be on the feed regularly, liking and commenting every day. Comment, if you make 2 or 3 comments every day, huge difference. Thanks for the question. All right, let's go to step 2. Step 2 is growing your network. You've got to grow your network. So I'm going to go here to, Monica College, right? Did I spell it right? What's going on here? SMC?
It's capital.
Oh, corrected, Ryan. So
What the heck's going on here? Oh, there we go.
there we
Boom.
go.
All right. So remember what I told you about actually USC. So you might have noticed that USC is my alma mater, right? A couple of things I want you to know about me, because if you look at me going to USC and I work at LinkedIn, you might have an impression of me. I'm underrepresented. My mom is an immigrant from Colombia. I'm the first person from my family to go to school. I had to work my way through college. I had to go to the Navy first in order to pay for USC. And even with that, I still had to work full time and help my parents when I was going to USC. I went to USC for one really big reason, because back then they talked about this thing about the Trojan network, right? The Trojan network, the Trojan family helps you get jobs. That is a fact, right? It is a fact that they connect you with alumni. And I was like, dude, I need that. I need help, because I didn't have a network. My mom and dad, my dad didn't graduate high school, didn't have a network. What I love about LinkedIn is now you don't have to go to a private school to get a network. You don't have to go to a private school or pay all this money to find people that will connect with you and reach out to you and help you. Or even if they just are in your network. True fact, right? If Chris and I are connected, if you're a first degree connection on LinkedIn, you're twice as likely to get the job at which you apply. So if Chris and I are connected and he applies to LinkedIn, he's twice as likely to get that job just because we're a first degree connection. That's free, right? It's crazy. Every college and university has an alumni page. Every college and university has a school page and an alumni page. And you click on this alumni tab and check this out. We tell you where they live, we tell you where they work, we tell you what they do, and even what they studied. And you can search through this. So somebody drop in the chat a company they'd love to work for that's not on this list, because you've got some great Amazon, Apple, Cedars-Sinai. So somebody drop in the chat. Ulta. Leona, you're killing me here. I mean, you're not killing me. You're actually challenging me here. Ulta Beauty. All right, drum roll, please. 9. Yes. Boom. Right. So what do? You scroll down here. You find out who these people are. They haven't allowed me to show them, so I'll just go here. And what you do is you click on their profile and you put in a connection request. And in the connection request, not a message, a connection request, you personalize the invite. Who are you? Why are you reaching out? I'm a current student at SMC. I noticed you're working at Ulta. Do you have 5 minutes for an informational interview? Ulta is my dream company. Dry Bar is my dream company. Ooh, Dry Bar. Let's try that one. I wonder how many people are there, right? Dry Bar, if anybody is. 6 people are working at Dry Bar.
Oh, Ryan, it's SMC, of course,
Yeah, exactly.
So Ryan,
exactly.
can you show us can you show us, I just saw that, like you couldn't access those profiles. Can you show us how I would do a connection, or at least a quick message for everyone on the call? So let's go down to the bottom. And I know it's a little bit
Sure. So like just pick one of them.
So yeah, just pick one of them. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
you come in
Vivian.
here and what you do is you want to connect and you're going to want to add a note, right?
Yes,
So you're going to
always.
add a quick note. You always want to add a note.
Always add a note,
Always
a
add a
personal
note.
note.
Exactly. I cannot, thank you, Jenna. I cannot stress this enough because they don't know who you are. And they think you're like me, a salesperson. Like, I don't want to hear from a salesperson. But as soon as you say, I am a current student, SMC student, I would love to work at Alta, or Alta is my dream company, or DreamWorks, or Warner Brothers. Do you have 5 minutes for an informational interview? That costs you nothing. It costs you nothing but like 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes. Let's be honest. This took me like 10 seconds. If you do 5 of those a day, 5 days a week, how quickly are you going to grow your network? How quickly, right? This is powerful. This is powerful.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
It is no problem. That is what I'm just telling you. It's just bananas. So I'm going to introduce you to this gentleman. His name's Michael.
And by the way, Vivian needed a picture on her profile.
Yeah.
She needed a background picture on her profile.
She needed a background picture. But
she does, because that's the default LinkedIn.
that's exactly.
That's the default LinkedIn. So as a so I actually, this is the first time I've met Ryan, you guys. He doesn't know I was a recruiter for 15 years, HR in HR. So it's like, if I saw that, it's like, no, you're not giving the time. You're not spending the time to really develop your profile.
Yeah.
So
it's the problem is
it's not that hard.
Exactly. And here's the deal. We can't deny that we're all humans and we have biases, unconscious and conscious biases. Now, should we be biased about the way a person looks? No, we shouldn't. Does it still happen? Yes. But is it fair to say, like, look, if you look at a profile and see that somebody spent no time on it, you spent no time on it. So it just means that you spent no time on it. Now, there could be a lot of reasons for that, but if I'm comparing you to somebody else who spent at least 2 or 3 hours and it shows, well, I know that that person spent 2 or 3 hours on it is probably going to be more disciplined. They're going to have a harder work ethic. I mean, it's just obvious because you actually have to do it. And that's the thing that is difficult for all of us, because I know you're busy. I know you have a lot on your plate, but here's my thing. I don't expect you, and I don't think you should expect yourself to do this in 1 day or 2 days. You could do this over time, spend a little bit of time thinking about let's start with my background photo. What do I want to do with my background photo? And then come back. Let me think about my headline, bounce it off your career counselors. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about that. What do you think? And then maybe do your about section, craft your about section. Again, you've got counselors, friends, family. Hell, I dropped my name in the chat. You can message me.
Right.
I'll help you out.
And remember, you guys, like, we do have the largest career counseling staff in all of the community colleges in California. So we have career counselors available for you. I put it in the chat at the very beginning of this talk. And we love doing LinkedIn profiles. And it can take multiple, like Brian's saying, this is not a 30-minute session. This is a couple hours to really make it clean. And once it's clean, you're feeling good about it, then guess what? It's once a week that you post something, So,
like I said,
so please access us because it's free. If you were to pay for this on the outside market, it would cost you $150 to $175 an hour at the minimum. All right, Ryan, back to you.
No worries. I appreciate the insight. Really quickly, I want to show you some success stories. So one of the things I want to do is show you how people have used LinkedIn, right? So I met Mike when he was going to Saddleback. It was in 2018, pre-COVID, obviously back in the good old days. And in 2019, I did the same workshop and he was at both. And he introduced himself to me and he told me his story. He allows me to share it with everybody. He's like, I just want you to know that last year I had a LinkedIn profile. I had no idea what to do with it. And I had 2 people on my network. He's like, when I left your workshop, I made it my mission to grow my network. Like you said, 3 months, from 2 people to 500 people in just 3 months. The cool thing is, he's like, after I got to 500 people, this company called Cengage reached out to him and said, I think you'd make a good paid campus ambassador. He interviewed, got the job, and he has a job waiting for him when he graduates Cal State Fullerton. Done. I mean, how easy is that, right? Every one of you can do that. Any one of you can do that. Let me introduce you to, Savannah. Let's see here. I have too many bookmarks. Here we go. This is Savannah. Savannah's going to Cal Poly Pomona, and she wants to go into the film industry. As you all know, that there are certain industries that are very difficult to get into. Film, tech, entertainment, super hard to get into. So what she did here is that there was an executive that did a workshop, a lot like mine, right? And that he did a workshop, large workshop for Cal Poly Pomona. Afterwards, she connected request. And then in the connection request, she said, my name is Savannah. I just saw your workshop. Do you have 5 minutes for an informational interview? He accepted her connection request. They had the interview. This is coming from Savannah. And Savannah's like, the 5 minutes turned into an hour. And a week later, I had an internship there. How much did that cost her? Nothing. Nothing. What is the worst thing that can happen if you reach out to somebody on LinkedIn? They ghost you. That's pretty much the worst thing that can happen, right? They're not going to blast you. LinkedIn is a different platform. More than likely, it's going to be super, super benign. So the opportunity is in your hands because you are the one that needs to reach out to people. The more that you reach out to people, the more the opportunity is going to come your way. I'll show you another one. This is Ariana. I met Ariana when she was at San Diego State. And so she was at San Diego State. She's part of the Hispanic Student Business Association. So again, first person from her family to go to school. And she wanted to work in technology. She wanted to work in tech. And so this job, Super Purposes, there was an internship, right? This was an internship job. Now, what do most people do when they apply? They apply and be done with it. Like, hopefully they'll respond to me or they'll reach out to recruiters. You know what Ariana did? Because it's a small company, she actually went on LinkedIn and found the CEO of the company and did a connection request and a message. She shot her shot with the CEO. And she said, hi, my name is Ariana. I'm a current student. I just applied for your internship and I would love an opportunity to interview. That was it. Guess what? About 3 hours later, after I'm sure, like, what is the first thing you do when somebody tries to connect with you on any social? What's the first thing you do? You click on their profile. I don't care what social media, right? You're like, who is this person that wants to connect with me? You click on their profile to find out who they are. What do they post? That's exactly the way LinkedIn works. So when you send a connection request out, after you've spent time crafting your profile, and they go, Monique, they go to your profile and they're like, my God, look at her experience and look at what she's doing. You see the person. There's more of a chance for them to actually accept your connection request. Felicity, you look them up. Exactly. So what happened with Ariana? They look her up, they see her profile, they see that she posts content. The CEO accepted her connection request and messaged her back and said, no student has ever done that before. Be expecting a call next week. We're going to interview you next week. She did the interview. The hiring manager was like, my CEO was so impressed with you. She said, if I was impressed with you, to hire you on the spot. So you got the job. That's what I'm talking about. Now, she was offered a full-time job with Super Purposes when she graduated, but her goal, when I first met her, she's from the Bay Area, like her goal was to work for our company, LinkedIn. It's not an easy thing to work for LinkedIn. We had 1 million people apply for 5,000 jobs in 6 months. It's kind of crazy. I'm going to tell you how she got this job without using me as a referral. She actually followed recruiters on LinkedIn. She followed. This is genius what she did. All she did was follow recruiters on LinkedIn. And every time recruiters would post content, she would like it and comment. She'd think about what they said, comment. And she kept commenting on the same recruiter's post. And after about a month, the recruiter reached out to her. The recruiter's like, who is this person that keeps on commenting on my posts? Reached out to her, asked her to interview. Now she works at LinkedIn.
Hey, Ryan, do you mind if you really fast show us, like, I want to work for, let's just pick a company, Apple, and find a recruiter for Apple? And how would I do that? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So really fast. So I got my profile going.
Right.
I want to work for Apple someday. So how do I find those? And by the way, your content today is amazing. I'm upping my LinkedIn, everyone. So
thank you. Jody actually asked, how do you find the recruiter? So now, just pro tip here. Bridget is a recruiter. Ariana is a recruiter at LinkedIn. Sarah that I showed you is a recruiter at Microsoft.
Okay.
You would know this too, Jenna, being a recruiter. I don't recommend trying to connect with recruiters because they kind of see through that. And that's why I think following a recruiter and actually engaging with the recruiter organically, like Ariana wasn't like, please give me a job on every one of her comments. She was like, I'm going to show this recruiter that I love the company and I'm engaged. That's it. And so all you do is you go to any company, because virtually every single company has a company page. Go to the people tab, and you could come over here if they have enough recruiters. It might be here, but because there usually aren't that many recruiters, I would just type in recruiter, right? You got to spell it right.
Yep.
And then you come down here and you can see recruiter, bum, 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 bum.
And so like Jessica Knack, can we follow her?
Yeah, you just click on here and you just click on more and you just click on follow. Boop.
There you go. Look at that, you guys.
It's that easy. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, recruiters are not rock stars.
Did you like her? I loved her profile picture, by the way. Her background picture.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Got it going on.
Look at all those apples.
Yeah. So, the whole point, go ahead, Jenna.
No. So did you guys follow that? Can you do it one more time, Ryan? So here we are. We're on the company page, you guys. We're going to type in recruiter.
Go to the people tab.
Go to people tab. Sorry. Go to the people tab. Type in recruiter.
And then that's going to pull up anytime recruiter is in their profile.
Right.
And it's going to show. You actually maybe could come over here
and do.
Yeah, you could actually go into human resources. So you can narrow this down and go anybody in HR. And then now you scroll down.
Probably worldwide, you guys. But so let's go to Marcus now. So we're going to connect. We're not going to connect.
Right.
We're going to click on his profile.
And then we'll click on more.
Oh, Apple did a generic
follow.
Yeah. So we would just follow.
Yeah.
Which is fine. There you go. Pretty easy, you guys. This is a great tip, Ryan.
Yeah, you can see some people have different backgrounds, but it looks like everybody has that. But this is like, again,
yes.
When we think about economic opportunity, when we think about what life was like before social media, there weren't these opportunities to just have organic outreach to anybody. I didn't get my job at LinkedIn on its own. I had a help. I had somebody I knew worked at the company. These companies like Apple and LinkedIn and almost every company is getting inundated with applicants. They're having a tough time finding the right applicant. So that's what is important. Informational interviews really, really help because, you get to get the real scoop from somebody. That's the deal. Having a first degree connection really, really helps because they can say, hey, think about this. When you get an interview, this is what I was asked in my interview. Be prepared for it. Right? That's the point. Now, any other questions with this before I jump into the last thing? There have been a lot of questions in here, and if I've missed your question, I totally apologize. You guys are doing great.
So 3 questions that you would ask in an informational interview, like on DM. Can you show us quickly how to do a DM, like your LinkedIn messages? It's basically DM, you guys, like on Instagram. LinkedIn has their own messaging, but if I connect with you, Ryan, and I'm interested in working at LinkedIn, what 3 questions would you recommend that a student maybe ask? Just to start the conversation.
There's so much information out there. Really what it boils down to is, what are you trying to get out of the informational interview? Okay. So that's where I would start. For me, especially if I'm underrepresented, especially if I'm a woman of color, what's the culture like? Okay. Is it inclusive, right? What's the leadership like, right? My wife, I'm in Orange County. My wife is Mexican, and she went to a job in Orange County where she was literally the only person of color, and it didn't work out, right? And it's not like it won't work out all the time when you're the only person of color, but if the leadership doesn't care about that and doesn't want to change that, important to know, right? So that's what I would do. What's the compensation like? What are the benefits like? What is a day in the life like? Just those questions. Those questions will start the convo. And here's what I want you to think about. We all vibe with people pretty quickly. It doesn't take very long to figure out if you like this person, you don't. if you get on a call with an informational interview and the guy's like, and looking over here and talking to you, okay, not worth your time. Take 2 or 3 minutes, ask some questions. But if you get on a call and they're like looking at you on Zoom, or they actually meet with you in person and you have a great conversation, it's what happened to Savannah. It
Right.
doesn't take very long for somebody to figure out, wow, this person is a rock star.
Right. So and I'm going to let you move on, but I want to do a shout out to the person who asked that question. It's one of our English professors at SMC, who's amazing, Eleni H. So anyways, so we can move on. So
Thank
it
you,
is,
Jenna.
you're welcome,
Sweet of you.
Eleni. Yeah. So, you know, and we're going to pass this on to all of our students, Brian. So, all right, move on to number 4. Are we
Yeah,
number 4? Let's go.
the last thing is content. Yeah, last thing is content. And I think I can't remember who asked the question about content. So I want to kind of go into a little bit more detail about the content and what you do here. So what you're wanting to think about with content and posting content is how you can share your story, share your successes, share your failures. If you get an internship, you can talk about your internship. Really, what you want to do here is start just engaging in the feed, right? If you don't feel comfortable with what you need to post right away, that's okay. Just scroll through your feed and start seeing what other people are posting. And then you can start understanding what people are posting about. But think about it again as social media. So you get to post whatever you want to post. There's no rule of thumb. Now, I mean, there's no rule. There is a rule of thumb, which is you want to make it professional. If it's personal, it needs to be relatable to your profession, right? It needs to be relatable to where you want to go in your career. But I've been doing this for 6 years. I've never seen a post that's inappropriate. I've never seen a student post inappropriately. What I have seen is that most students never post because you're afraid to post. The other thing you can do is you can market yourself. Think about LinkedIn as a place for you to brand yourself and market yourself. If you don't advocate for yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice. You could literally, this is a video, you could literally record a video of yourself. Hi, my name is Olga. This is my story. This is where I want to go with my career. Is there anybody out there that can give me any pointers or any tips? Is that going to hurt you? No, you're going to have 10,000 people look at it, 20, 30,000 people look at it. And on LinkedIn, that's a big number. It's not like TikTok where you have 1 million people because it's some stupid viral video. If you have 5 to 10,000 people, they're all professionals and they're all going to be looking at your profile, maybe growing their network. That's the point with content. So if you want to, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to go to the LA Times. I always do this. And I'm going to pull, I'm going to pull the URL. Boom. It pulls in the URL. Now I can delete this just like you would. I know you all are on social media. You know how to post content on social media. I just read this, whatever, ... You can tag somebody. I'm going to tag Ariana. Boom, right? And then I'm going to throw in some hashtags. You can throw in hashtags below if you want to. Hashtag LinkedIn, whatever, or news of the day, whatever. You all know how to do this. That's it. You just posted content. You all are in school now. You are reading, really, you're doing critical thinking right now. You might be in Eleni's course and there's a great article you've read for her course. Post that up on LinkedIn. I just read this article, a communication course. It's taught me this, and this. And then you could even maybe tag your career counselors. You could tag people. You could tag other thought leaders. LinkedIn is social media in general, but LinkedIn specifically is the only place, it's the only professional network that allows you to showcase your critical thinking. It actually allows you to showcase where you want to go in your career and do it in a network. Network is the key to getting a job. 70% of jobs are found through a network. Let me reiterate, 70% of jobs are found through a network. So you growing your network and engaging with the network is going to really accelerate your ability to take advantage of this platform. The other thing is that, I'm going to go ahead and delete this post, right? The other thing is that when a recruiter looks at your profile, boom. Well, actually, let me just go. I'm just going to show you Evelyn. Evelyn is another student that I worked with a long time ago. They can go right into your featured section here. We didn't talk about this. Like you can add content in your featured section so that people can see what you're doing. Like if you want to add a video, you want to add, if you're a marketing student, you want to add a project, you can do that. But they can also go into your activity section and they can quickly and easily see all the activity that you've done and all the posts that you've done. It takes 2 seconds for them to do that. And again, if you spend just 5 minutes once a week posting content, you're doing so much more than everybody else. And in this ultra competitive job market, what is it doing for you? It's allowing you to give yourself the opportunity to differentiate yourself against that next person. There's never been more opportunity than there is today. I just feel like there's just more opportunity now than there ever has been. But I also think it's more competitive now than it's ever been either. It's just much more competitive, especially here in California, especially now that, you know, so many people are looking for remote jobs and companies are now hiring anybody anywhere. So what does that mean for you? It gives you so much more opportunity, but you're also competing with a lot of people. Yeah.
So Ryan, I have one last request because I know it's 12:10. Can you show us, I'm a student at SMC and I would like an internship at, Deloitte and Touche for the summer. How would I find that?
So, you can go to the jobs board right here, right? And click on the jobs board and then you can search for
company.
If we can search for Deloitte, we can search for Deloitte. And what we could do is, I'm not going to set an alert here, but what we could do here is come to the company and come to Deloitte. And then what we could do here is also actually go for job type and do internship.
Oh, look at that.
And so there's 7 internships here for Deloitte.
That's awesome.
And then you can actually set this job alert.
And by the way, everyone on this call that is an SMC student, do you notice what's after discovery intern? What does it say? Freshman.
Yeah.
That's you. That's us.
Yep.
It's us.
Here's
It's
the other
SMC.
thing. Here's the other thing. Look at this. The more connections you have, boom.
Yep.
I've got 22 connections that are working at Deloitte, 20 company alumni, and 281 school alumni. I can click on this link. I can open up this link over here. And I can be like, I want to connect with you. Hey, I'm looking to do an internship over there. Would you mind connecting with me?
Yeah. Great.
The network, listen, this is all about networking. Matan, premium, I don't think you need it. It's really expensive. It's $60 a month. All right. I don't think you need it. I've shown you everything that you can do free. Premium gives you incrementally more, in-mail messages as you can do. And you can see who's looking at your profile. Who cares? Like, it gives you salary insights. Actually, you get salary insights no matter what. So I don't think you need it. I really don't. Yeah. So we've covered a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
No problem. We've covered a ton of stuff. I'm happy to take some more questions, but that's really what I wanted to cover now.
Exactly.
Couple of things I will just say as far as posting content. When you are writing your own copy, so let's say you're talking about an internship that you've done, or you, an accomplishment that you've had, or a success or a failure. I know this sounds crazy, but take a selfie, right? Just put a selfie, a snapshot. You get 5 times more views if you put a selfie on there. If you do a video, you get 10 times more views, because it is social media after all. So just throwing yourself on there. So, couple of students I coached to do that, and they put a selfie on there, and one student, she had 34,000 people look at her post, and it added that's it. So again, I'm not saying take a selfie with, a beer in your hand, but what I am saying is, like, you're just sitting at a desk, you can take a selfie and you're like, hey, everybody, this is me. This is the thing, like, old school thinking of LinkedIn is it's got to be quote unquote professional. I hate that word. That word comes with so much underlying, it's just not a good word, because I am professional, even if I'm wearing a ball cap. And guess what? If somebody doesn't like the fact that I'm more casual in the way I speak and in the way I approach my business, I don't want to work there. That's just a fact. I'm in sales, and I remember job I had previous to this one, I had to go and do a presentation to the CEO, a sales presentation after I got hired. And they're like, well, if you don't do well with this, you could lose your job. Like, talk about pressure. You just got hired. I got to learn a new product and I got to pitch the president. And I pitch just like I'm talking to you all. If they don't want me for me, they don't have me. And at the end, they're like, wow, you were really way casual with that, but it worked. It came across well. We want to work with you. And I'm like, that's because I'm true to myself. So the more authentic you can be, the better. And I don't worry about you all posting something inappropriate because you all know what you should be posting on LinkedIn. Cool. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes. Who was that?
I'm so
Monique.
sorry. Yeah, this is Monique. I just wanted to ask you, I had LinkedIn for many years. I'm a real estate license, but I'm not active right now, but it's just there. But I keep getting this notification about paying $99 a month for if you want to know who was checking on you or who viewed your profile. What do you suggest about that? Do I need that 99? I mean, what do I?
$99. That sounds like a lot. I'm wondering, I'm hoping that's not another. Look, LinkedIn isn't perfect. I drank the Kool-Aid. I love the company. It's great in a lot of ways, but it still is social media. You still have nefarious people. You still have dumb people that are going to be trying to ask you out on a date if you're, a woman. It's not perfect. So I would, treat everything with a little bit of suspect, right? I mean, if people are reaching out to you, you don't know who they are. If somebody's asking you for a credit card or asking you to pay money, get rid of that. And if that's not a LinkedIn thing, I would raise that up, let us know about it. But we're trying to eliminate harassment and bullying. We eliminate 99% of all fake profiles are eliminated. The whole point of being on LinkedIn is to have a public facing profile to help you get where you want to go in your career. So it does help us eliminate those sorts of things.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Brenda, go ahead.
Before we get to Brenda.
Okay.
So I do want to say, when I'm looking at the questions before we roll up this workshop, someone asked about how long does a recruiter look at LinkedIn profiles? So first of all, I used to look at them for about a minute. So it was about 60 seconds. But what I was looking for were job titles, the content. I would scroll down, make sure that it was the completeness of your profile is unbelievably important. And there's all the sections. LinkedIn will take you right through. Would you like to add skills? Would you like to add interests? Would you like to add companies that you follow? Please do all those sections, because that like Brian said, it was really, really important to me that someone spent, because I know how long it takes.
Right.
My profile has been up for years, and I actually don't update it as much, but after today, I'm going to update it, Brian.
Yeah, but once you do it, you don't necessarily need to update a lot.
Exactly.
But I think showcasing more of your story is great. Really quickly,
Yeah.
Brenda, I definitely want to get to your
Brenda,
question.
go.
But I want to add one thing. Recruiters are more of the gatekeepers, right? And so they need to look for a certain thing, and they need to present the right candidates to the hiring manager.
Right.
You better know for certain the hiring manager is looking at your LinkedIn profile too before they interview you. Or oftentimes, I'm talking to students right now, especially on Zoom, they're like looking at your profile as they're interviewing you. So
Correct.
It's twofold. One is to get through the recruiter, but really the extended part of it is like a hiring manager is going to be like, oh, okay, Brenda, what am I getting when I work with Brenda?
Exactly.
LinkedIn looks for three things when they hire. Dream big, have fun, get shit done. Like literally we say that, like literally we have pens with that stuff. So that's the key. Brenda, go ahead.
Yeah, I was curious how important it is to have endorsements for your skills as well. One, and two, oh shoot, it's escaping my mind. Hold on, sorry. No, my other question left me. Yeah,
I'm going to go ahead and answer that, and then just kind of think about your other question if you want to drop it in the chat or DM me. Endorsements aren't as big of a deal because anybody can endorse anybody. My mom could endorse me for sales. It's nice to have endorsements. Recommendations are big. Recommendations are big because people have to take time to write a recommendation, and it's like a recommendation letter. So I would try to seek out more recommendations. Endorsements don't necessarily move the needle as much, although they're nice to have.
Okay, then this was my second question, and that might tie into that is, so there is LinkedIn Learning, right? Where you can get like certificates for being excellent at Excel or Docs or whatever. How important is it to have that kind of stuff, I guess, as well?
Yeah, the only reason I didn't talk about LinkedIn Learning is because you all aren't my client. They haven't paid for it for you. So you
Yeah.
have to actually pay for it yourself.
Mhm.
It does help. And the reason why it helps is because it's becoming more and more of a skills-based economy, and companies are looking for people with the right skills. Plus, it's another differentiator. So if you're going against somebody who has the same degree or is going through the same internship, I talked to a young lady who, you know, I'll show you here. She was going for an internship at Cisco, right? And she looked on the internship and saw that she needed to know Power BI. So she went on LinkedIn Learning, took Power BI Essentials. They're like, hey, you need to know Power BI. She got the job, got the internship. So it cannot hurt you. It can only help you. We know it helps you a good amount. It's just that unfortunately, that is a free. Now you could jump onto LinkedIn and do premium for 30 days. I do a 29-day trial. You do 29 days for free. Take all the LinkedIn Learning courses, put them on your profile.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to see how much that actually weighed into a person's like recruiters looking at you or not. But,
yeah,
okay.
it helps.
That's good to know.
It helps.
It helps.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, Christopher.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, so my question was, I guess it goes alongside of the algorithm via skill. So I pretty much did a career change pre-COVID, and I switched over to a creative animation, but my work experience that I've added onto LinkedIn is basically administrative.
Right.
I did a lot of administrative duties, in my past time. So I'm getting a lot of recruiters trying to get me for administrative, work. So should I modify that? Do I not include that? Do I keep it there? Like, what would be your recommendation for that via LinkedIn's algorithm?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and LinkedIn's algorithm isn't perfect. Unfortunately, your administrative work is part of who you are and your career. I would not take it off. You're going to have to sift through the incorrect jobs, unfortunately, but this is where you really want to take your time. The career change is a big deal. It's not easy to make a big pivot in your career. And this is where I think you need to think of LinkedIn more socially, right? Where you're actually connecting with people, you're posting content, you're applying for jobs in different. If you keep applying for different type jobs, that algorithm will pick it up. But the algorithm isn't perfect. Listen, my wife had her open to work on, and she's like, why am I getting these jobs that have nothing to do with me? The algorithm isn't perfect. I wish I could tell you that. But I do not recommend that you take off your experience. Your work experience is who you are. This is where, for you, I would frame that in the about section. And I would also post content regularly that shows where you want to go in your career and what you want to do. You might even want to record a video. This is where I was, and this is where I want to go. This is the thing. You got to understand that you need to be able to articulate where you are in your career and where you want to go. And that's what LinkedIn allows you to do. The more you do that, the more opportunity will come your way.
And I'm going to jump in on there. Christopher, also the classes you're taking at SMC, underneath courses and underneath education, you can highlight it. And Brian has an amazing idea around recording a quick, literally, like, how long do you guys look at videos? It has to be
30 seconds.
I was going to say it has to be less than 1 minute.
Yeah.
And actually our peer navigators, who's one of our programs, they're now requiring, instead of a resume, they are requiring a video of why you want to become a peer navigator. So you're going to see more and more of this. All right.
sure.
Who else has a question? Because we're wrapping up here. Margarita. Is this Margarita from my class or no?
And I don't think so.
No, fine. Okay.
Hi, I have a question. So you just told that the resume and LinkedIn is totally different. But I have my previous major in biotechnology. And I have work experience in biotechnology, but right now I'm studying in SMC as a graphic designer, and I really like it and I really want to be in this sphere. So in LinkedIn, should I put my background like in biotechnology and all this experience, or should I avoid it?
Yeah, it's kind of along the same lines of what Christopher was talking about.
Yeah.
And again, Jenna's a former recruiter, but I firmly believe that your experience makes you who you are today, and you don't want to eliminate any of that experience. So what you've learned in the other vertical can help shape you with your new stuff. So again, in your about section, in your headline, it might be former XYZ looking to do this.
Okay, and what
Go ahead.
about like I'm an immigrant and
Yeah.
I like when I just enter USA, I need some job and I have some work experience as office manager and receptionist. Do I need this like to show that hey, I have experience in US working or no?
I would. Yeah. Go ahead, Jenna.
Yeah, no, I would too. And we can, it really is like Ryan's saying, it's up in your about and your SMC courses, but individuals, recruiters do want to know that you've had to show up for a job. You know what it's like to work in a workplace, you know, the attitude, you have the aptitude. So, it all, you know, let's not discount all the work experience that everyone on this call has.
Yeah.
You know, it's very, very important. Now also though, I am going to say is that you only go back at the minimum, Ryan, correct me if you think so, like about 10 years. Anything past 10 years sometimes becomes a little irrelevant for a recruiter or for a company. Do you agree, Ryan? About 10 years?
I don't think you need to go right. I don't think you need to go any
even
further,
7?
Further than that.
Yeah.
At the same time, the thing with the LinkedIn profile is that it kind of disappears at the bottom.
That's
right.
true.
And remember, it's a keyword search.
It is.
So you never know when you've thrown in an extra accomplishment you've done or an extra thing that will be found in a keyword. So I kind of think you can let it keep going. Again, on a resume, you can't do that. A resume, but since it's not, so I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Okay. Kamiko, and I think this will be our last question for today. So Kamiko?
So I know you stated about having a tagline. Would you recommend, well, in my LinkedIn profile, I kind of have a tagline in my background. Would that be okay? Or would you more suggest keeping it under your profile name?
No, I love the tagline in the background photo. That's a brilliant idea, right? That is brilliant. Get creative, but I really, really love that idea. The deal with LinkedIn is it allows you to showcase your personality. It allows you to get, again, the whole point of this workshop, the whole thing that it's kind of evolved over the 6 years that I've been here. When I first did this, I was like, I would show people how to do each section, but that doesn't really help you. Nobody taught you how to do TikTok. Nobody taught you how to do IG or Snap. I just want to hopefully inspire you to get on LinkedIn and get comfortable with it. The more that you're on LinkedIn and the more you're comfortable with it, the more that you're going to realize how to take advantage of the platform, because that's really what I want for you all. LinkedIn is all about helping you get where you want to go in your career, but you got to go after it. So doing that is brilliant. There's a new feature on your mobile device, by the way, on your profile picture. You can actually, there's a little plus there. To Jenna's point, you can 30-second video. Now you can create a 30-second video. So when people get on your phone, on your profile picture, they click your profile picture because that's what everybody does. They click your profile picture and a video pops up. Now, guess what? Jacqueline has an opportunity to showcase who I am. Thanks for clicking on my profile, right? I'm a current student. This is what I want to do and where I want to go in my career.
And you guys, if SMC students on this call, you know what? Come meet with me. We'll do it in the courtyard, do it in the quad. It's beautiful. SMC quad is amazing with our palm trees and our fountains. So there's so many places you can go if you're not comfortable doing it from your home or from, wherever you're at. So remember, come to SMC's campus. We are open now for students. So you can just pop on campus and do this. Ryan, thank you so much. So DIY YouTube, there must be, LinkedIn have a YouTube channel?
We have a TikTok channel.
You have a TikTok channel. Can you put it in the chat really fast?
I would just search LinkedIn TikTok.
All right,
you just search LinkedIn TikTok account. You're going to find it. Right. I'm sure we have a YouTube channel as well, but TikTok is our new medium. So it's been a pleasure chatting with you all today.
Ryan. I know it's 12:30.
No, you're good. We're good. Listen, I did drop my name in the chat. Feel free to connect with me.
I was just going to say, Ryan, feel free to connect with Ryan on LinkedIn. Yeah. So
feel free to connect with me.
So Ryan, this was so informative, and even the career counselor learned a lot. And I know Lisa Moss, who's my colleague, is like, yeah, this was been great information. All right, you guys, have a great day, have a great weekend, and you know what? Just be well, and remember, anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Awesome, everybody. Take care.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bye,
bye.
everybody. Thanks, Jacqueline.
Bye.